Okay, okay. Kwashyayaki we Jinkaat ʼatánk haide akitan. Aka away we ade dadunei at yewa aktuasakuho ahi. Itch kwal Yéil ʼaan wiskarnik kagachtunik itch we yedadune wooneiyi at adatu jekone kadawusi tsu kwal yijiwu shukwa ako Jinkaat ʼatánk adusatu tuwasaku ʼaan kayinigi adat yangiwane was like Yéil again. That's how you tuwasaku yuhan.
Well, I've been looking at the shkashnik about copper, and there's so much I cannot find. The origin of copper story. We're supposed to start on Thursday, right? Or Wednesday?
Yeah, we'll start going through it as a group.
Looks like Sid wants to go.
Oh, yeah, okay, kunnen cheese. Ach, tuwasaku ho ahi. Guk, Odegan.
Okay, so I try my best. Kwashyayach flashcard shinge chinak yaki dujis. Wanna do yadi aya. Kuch 8 aya. Akaushachit aya. Kusuk aya. Gaudan aya. Kach aya. Gauch aya. Douche aya. Gishu aya. Tan aya. Shuk aya. Nak aya. Tadanuk aya. Dis aya. Dutech aya. Kawat aya. State aya. Kastat aya. Kastat ku aya. Nagas aya. Kush echwa aya. Kut aya. Khat aya. But Cash elephant aya Tlingit chinak. On shukahadi aya chinak kua. We do Donald Trump. So where shukahadi ye khwasa. Pooch.
Okay, good cheese. Dachasai oecho achwe elephant. Shukayat ka seisisu.
Could you write that in the spelling or in the chat?
Yeah, kwati.
However, my 1-year-old son has started to say shukahadi when I show him a picture of Trump in an elephant. So that's fun.
Mkecha.
Slightly meaning like baggy or saggy.
Yeah. Yeah, well. And tlélí is also when a drum gets kind of loose, like it gets cold. And I guess tlélí could also be for the males related to performance issues, perhaps, or just where they're at in terms. Well, I don't know. I don't want to get into too many details, but
I understand.
yeah, I guess one time there was an elder who's from a community that a lot of us know. I won't put too many names on this story. And they were working with someone else who went for a walk on their lunch break in downtown Juneau and came back kind of shocked. And they said, "What's going on?" She said, "Well, I was just going for my lunchtime walk and I saw like this naked guy just go running past. Kind of freaked me out in the woods." And the elder said, "How? Oh, what's the other one? ʼatánk. There it is. ʼatánk.
She said, "Atskani."
Ah, yeah. Anybody else got 10 sentences to share? Okay, that's wasa. Gwash yatatsu atat yechakach tu nech ayegu genk. Well, jank ayat du jiwu a klein a yuk ʼatánk kadu jahidi. Gwash tu idek gach tu de shi wuch in. Aka aweach tu wasaku. We click a recording with two ach. Aka awe kagach tu shahid. Kagach tu ach awe. Kagach tu shahid has to yuk ʼatángi. Kagach tu nik. Das awe tlet kak einach. De awe just chakut practice you do sago atlet kak einach. So we'll probably start incorporating some other stuff into what we're doing here. So the Yéil story, we'll start wrapping that up. The perfective, we're going to get close to wrapping that up. And then we're going to incorporate the future, the origin of copper, and then probably some exercises. Alice has a lot of recordings, and we'll probably pick one and just start going through and each take a turn writing down what we're hearing and translating it just as an exercise. Yeah, I did Gwash ya Yéil kakan gwash perfective. Da khasa yi tu asagu ya I did
Khataya kushek. As much as kunachtuasi go perfective you ʼatánk where Yéil kashnik oh kat se wak wasad wasak bothered wutik yatik achji yatik.
Oh, how you go one.
I know.
That's
So
ne jekach tu ne.
yeah.
Chadapasa you to asagu. Kashach tu ashku ye kaudik heatly adat.
Kachwaak or kachwaak. yatik koa.
Okay. Take away khoach. Ejit tulitzin. Or ejin tulitzin. Ye away khoach. Kayat etsu. Achjin tulitzi. Yiska away khoach shakshani khidach. Achjin tulitzi. Kleidchach inach koa. My hands aren't strong enough for it. Ijin tulitzin. Your hands are strong.
Okay, goodness, cheese.
That was different kind work. So this one's like shantu. I don't know. Herchosaku. Achtuasaku. Yi lewuchi. Kayitu wulitzini. Ye awe wuchin. Wuchin aya yagachtu glak yuhan. What? Just genki awe. Perfective. We could finish that one up. Unless anybody else wants to share your sentences, your how-to. Someone should do cribbage.
Khataya.
Okay, good.
Boné, can I share? Yeah, okay. Anyway. Share the screen. Can you see it? Oh, okay. Gune ishak na us. Ewa. We kutla a kadu six kadu six itinachyati. Yako. Iatu kadu six tin we shak atunach chutle tsah keoji tach. Tach. We chen gweithli a shall Nutelatin. We gweithli a gukshata idchash ka we Nutella ka gut shak today. Ask. We kakatlat correction. Atsahu atulke kadu atlit gasawe kadu a chuk Nutelatin. Yeah. In one fell swoop.
Okay. It's okay. Okay, huh? We a gukshatu ach nachash. Vashreta ach tuasaku.
Sure.
Just nachash. Change the verb should be ach nachash. So it would be the command form for cut it off. So the ach part, A underline X, is a contraction of adach,
Mhm.
Idakash is a command. Well, there might be nidakash, which would just cut, like there's no object there, so that you need to use the one with the object. So then nachash is what I would expect. Okay.
Yawa.
Goodness, cheese.
In a cheese recipe.
Okay, awa konach shakha Nutella. Eitsk.
Mhm.
I have something.
Oh, goodness, cheese.
I don't know how to share it.
You should be able to just click that green button at the bottom.
Coming, looking.
So
Oh,
yeah.
share screen. Do. Trying to find it. Here it is. Okay. Okay. So who wants to be my conversation partner?
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
You'll do it? René?
Oh, gwashi tuasaku.
Uh-huh. Okay. Wasa kuyati gone. Yayagi. You get a choice.
Oh. Kuyake.
Dasa ye kisane yayagi. Oh, wait, no, that's your line.
Oh. Chadechan. Dasaye kakisane yayagi.
Gwash on de no, wait, I wanted to say, oh yeah. Gwash ye jene de kwagut. Wa ekwa.
Yakyat atwa kuhu achtuasaku. Goshku kan yeka kwasatin.
Kungauk sa kuchtek ki kuch.
Gushukka.
Dasa gachtu chaya chana.
Goshku kan gli.
Okay.
Yak.
Yawa.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to close it now. Did it work?
Like, what is
Um,
it?
I'm working on it.
I think it's up at the top usually, the top share.
Oh, Khatim. At Khatim. Yeah, Khwadlak.
When it's cheese, yak echawe. We model dialogue. Yeah, what to us a Google cheese.
Another idea.
What kagachtu ak where you ʼatánk gachtu say it's ak yeah we ho ach what kuakan what zisk ak kitlun kash adat you kitan koa yeah hechosaku dat yaksa good is a cookie good or good is a cookie cook sekanan oh what yeah what we hechosaku good is we Chutznu chitu awe adat aya kakwa kuch ka at kakwa good. Gwash at kakwasatin se gwash ye at kakwasatin se kanan we dasa achtu wasagu ha at chai sak. Hechwasagu koa ye awe cho acho gwash kuakan ak gwalun. Gwash te katwe kuakan adachasle kwa guk. Hechwasaku ades yuchasha atkin choa hachago kahu. Yisukuka?
Cake.
Hatsu. Just atkuk kwa good. We. Gwash. Hechwasaku. Muke.
Basically, if someone's say he went hunting they would say askite wugut.
Yeah, and it's like underneath the surface of the forest, kind of. It's like literally what it means. Askite. Okay, gynnyll chish, wwg echa. Tsuk geyo. Yéil ach tuas go chwachi. Okay. Okay. Gynnyll chish. Ye away ye achwaka. Kuwak Siudaku satan yakha. Jan away ye away achten de tani. Ye ti. Kuwak Echasaka. Ya I dat kunach away. Siu ya Koshakut away shakata ani. Ya Echwasa o tiqoa. Tchayeko kinki koneye and the kanyo echosatin. Ya tsiyak. Wait atsu. One kanins siu taknistani aya chaanawe adaki tuchtatan. Kuwak yesu. Kushagoots wait atsu. Achtu yik dat ka kudigwats. Achtu asagu wait ayachati aya yakuti. Ye awe. One kanins kunach ayawde titsu. Ya haani data we you tuchtatan shkakwe. Oh. Joya haani kechat yeti ade aya khatanugu ye we uchja ya kunach ya yes ka tak kunach we ausha we uchja you ye we adati tuchtatan wan kanins ya hashif ko hasani ka ade athas na kuchjin ya hast du yago yikt achatin Wasa shekutsi awe ade haswakuchu ye chak. Ye awe has konachoy chitzin has de chik to ye utiin. A joy konachoy and the shit aya has de yagu. Kwash ke has uwa shi. Aka awe the kat ye de haswakuchen. Ye awe chwaach. Ya datsu ya achlir kutlein. Ye awe ka. Yeah, Lynn Canal, you do a sago at the dat chakha gosh shutak. Where shutak shaya aye tea yago yikt konachoy tak kone aya ya konahin. Yisatin we sha kone aya akach tle dakustani. Yisaku tak de ya konahin. Ako what's that do a sago at? Ya katut aya, ya katut away we sha, what is a teen way glade. Ya a kaut hate shan away, we at nakuchju, at your way, when kanins just chayeko ginki at haswu kuchjun. Ye away hoach, ya ha'ani dat. Ya, what's that do a saga at? Where a sai kudziti, chutle aya just has wunuk, kawe kute, kakut aya naha, kunachawe ada, yadudza ini. A katratse wak akwasa do a saga ati dat kwa. Ilwasa uti. Nek gan chi shuhan, yuk atangi ach tu yuk yuk atangi kwa achi, yachana. Kwash ya yidat Kagachtu aq. Yata. Yende. Yagachtu glaqi. Yeawe yu yachsaka, yu yotusaka, yu yaisaka, yu yayisaka, yu ayausaka, yu sa ayausaka, yu yodutsaka, kaursane, kautusane, kaisane, kayisane, akausane, hasakausane, kaudutsane. A itch a kua. Takasa. Yachtenaq, Kleik. Yata. Yadu hayis ayi. Khan kananik dat datetinachsa. Raqawi perfective gachtulayechi. Yatwuneyi. Judechia. Kesh object kusti. Yatakoa. A thematic. Shtakat at z. Yekkotiwe classifier. Yatakoa. Open ka na. Long and low. Yatakoa chishugu a. Tluk oe chishugu yin teach. Qewu. Asai kutzati yach. This is a noun, but it's also a compound. Can anybody tell me what the two parts of that noun are? Qewu.
Awu is the net, right?
It's the nets, and it's made up of two parts. Qe and wu. Qe is between the folds of something. And then wu is to be at, like yadu, wedu, stuff like that. Okay. So predictors. We should be expecting z. These both have a thematic prefix, sha and a, that cannot go away, but neither of them have an object. This one's going to be long and low. This one will be a qewu. So, who would like to predict I lowered, or I anchored? How's that?
Wouldn't be shayeina, would it? That's different.
For this, for the I, we got to have the ch. So shayena comes from this, it comes from this verb. So shayena is a verbal noun. There, it's like the one, you know, is anchoring.
One that lowered the anchor.
Mm-hmm.
Or lowered the head of the anchor or something.
Yeah, well, shayena just comes built right from that verb, yeah.
This one.
But it's going to end with ya, and it's going to start with sha. And we're going to get this.
Is it gonna be shachadzia?
Shauchziya. That's what we should be.
Oh, we're going perfective. Sorry.
Yes, yes, it's okay. Shauchziya. So, but there's all the parts, right? So just picking it back up. Sha, yu, cha, zi. Whenever we have yu in cha, the yu jumps right over and it becomes hua. And then in this case, we get the rule of 3. So if we have up until the root, if we have 3 or more, up until the root, if we have 3 or more things, one of the vowels is going to have to go, right? So that's what's going to start causing contraction, is that magic number. So in this case, the and the y, or the both go, right? Okay, okay. We anchored. Yeah, oh, shautudziya. You anchored.
So I have a question. That TU, I thought that was plural, one plural,
Yeah, that is. So this
first person plural.
is we anchored.
Oh, we, okay. I thought we were going second person. Okay, I
Now-
understand.
Now we're doing second. You anchored. So now I'm looking for that.
But doesn't that shautudzia have 3 vowels before the root?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So now the perfective, the has gone out.
Shautu.
So you would have sha, ya, sha,
Oh,
ya, tu, zi, and it becomes shautudzi.
okay.
And this is going to be the pattern. So we're going to have, if we go back a little bit, we have yautusa. And yautusa is following the same rules as, shautudze. Right, so this consonant is changing because we went from ya to sha. And then this one we went from si to zi. But we still have this out right in the middle. And we're looking for you anchored.
Shaidzaya.
Shaidziya, yeah, oh, y'all anchored.
Shaidzia.
Yeah, oh, shaidziya. They singular anchored.
Shadzia.
Shaudziya. They anchored.
Hashaudzia.
Yeah, oh, people anchored.
Shaududzia.
Yeah, oh, shaudziya. So if we look at these patterns, shauchtze, shautudze, shaidze, shayidze, shaudze, hashaudze, shaududze. What we should predict is if we took this sh right off of it, and then we change the ya to qaywu, we should have all the answers for the next one. Okay, and then these patterns they will also reveal themselves. It's going to look very similar. So this shape of the thematic prefix is sh, but this could easily be sh. So if this was some other verb that had sh on there, you would have shuchtze, shutudze, right? And so this is what we're going to see. For in this case, we have the a thematic. So this is basically we're just going to take that sh off the top. So I was seine fishing. I was seining. How's that?
Auchzigewu.
Achzekewu. Yeah, we were seining.
Achtudzekewu, Kaiwu.
Autudzekewu. You were seining.
Aodzikewu.
We got to get that Y in there. So just like if we just took this SH right off of there.
Oh.
ʼaitsikaiwu.
Aitziqiwu. Y'all were seining.
Ayidzagewu.
Ayitziqiwu. They singular were seining.
ʼatánk.
Yeah, they were seining.
Has ʼaitsikaiwu.
Yeah, people were seining.
Aodzikewu.
Yeah, Yakeyu, hon, cheese. Another set of themes mastered. So let's keep looking at these patterns. Okay, what do we need to know about this first verb in order to predict all of these perfectives?
It's going to have an object.
Yes, so we should expect a kaushe and has a kaushe on both sides. What else?
Is that seq staying the same?
Well, so this is closed and zero, so it should be short and high. And this is also closed and also zero, so we should be getting seq and ish all the way down. They're L classifier, so we should be getting tle, except for the fourth person, which should be tle. Now that's everything. So again, so this verb is to dye something a certain color. It could also be, in a lot of cases, to color something using like crayons or something. Sometimes that can work. So I colored it. I dyed it.
Akauflisik.
Gotta knock that off the front though. That's
Oh,
only
really?
for the third person.
Oh, we don't even need to say it?
No.
Ah.
I dyed it. Right? And so this object will only be when there is both a third person object and a third person subject. Otherwise, it's just sort of kind of invisible. Right?
And could you use this for painting as well?
Yeah, like I would think it would work if, say you, especially if you sketch something out,
Mm-hmm.
you wanted to color that particular thing, I think that could work.
Paint by numbers.
Or if you wanted to tell someone, color that thing blue, then this would work. Okay. We dyed it.
Kautulisak.
Ye'aweh kaututlesek. You dyed it.
Kauyesasak.
Well, we should be getting kaise.
Kai.
Yeah, like the other ones we had kaidze or shaidze, or so you're gonna get that I, that AY is what we should be expecting in this form. So kaisesek. Then y'all dyed it.
Kai.
Ye'aweh kayilesek. They, singular, dyed it.
Akausasak.
Ye'aweh, they dyed it, plural.
I like that one.
Somebody put a hus on that.
Has akausasak.
Ye'aweh. It was dyed.
Kaututlesek.
Ye'aweh kaututlesek. Goodness, sheesh.
Renee, could I ask a question?
Ah,
So that fourth one, or the last one, kaududlisek. So it has a object and a subject. So in the English translation, it would be more likely it would be dyed, or it was dyed.
it was dyed. Although there's a lot of times where you can use that kaututlesek and it just means it was colored that way.
But if there's only a subject, no object, then do you go like people did that?
Oh, yeah. So typically, yes, if there's an object, I often interpret, and some people use they, they'll just say they. And I don't think that's wrong, but I just like to use people so that we're clear that there's a fourth person in there. So if there's an object in there, I would usually say it was verbed. But if there isn't, then I'll usually say people verbed. So for example, like people seined, because there's no object on there. But if this was like kautuaha, I would say it was planted. But that's usually just usually how I like to do that. But you could certainly say people dyed it that color. But I would just say it was dyed. Okay.
And then, Renee, if I want to say what color is the moose, it would be Masakodudlitsek with Zisk.
Ye'aweh. So this Masakaututlitsek is also could be what color is it? And so even though there's this dyeing color on there, that works for just like what, it's just that color as well with that fourth person, because I guess in the Tlingit brain's like, well, somebody colored it that way. And so that's how you can answer, or you can ask that question. So this works pretty well too for like, as you move students towards describing things and stuff, like if you had pictures of stuff, or if we did these like, remember we're doing these games with like describing things or asking questions and stuff like that. So those are some things that you could do to start narrowing things. And it depends what kind of game you're doing. Like if we were trying to guess what you're thinking of, and we could ask you open-ended questions, that's probably a pretty good one to ask, because then it narrows it down to a whole, like, well, it's something green, you know.
Renee, I heard if you're talking about something that is a natural color and it wasn't colored, it was just that color, you could say wasa kaudlisek.
Oh, okay. Kaudli.
Kaudli.
Oh, okay.
Kaudlisek. If it's that natural color.
Mm-hmm. Goodness, cheese. Kaudli. Okay. Okay, so for the next one, the only thing you're going to change is the root from seq to ish. So this is going to help with our pattern build, even though it seems like there's like infinite options, there really isn't, you know. So this is stringing some beads together. So I strung beads.
Ish.
Yeah, we strung beads.
Kautusli-ish.
Yeah, you strung beads.
Kaisli-ish.
Yeah, y'all strung beads.
Yéil-ish.
Yeah, they singular strung beads.
Kautli-ish.
A kautle-ish. They strung beads, plural.
Plus a kofla-ish.
Yeah, beads were strung.
Cowdoodly-ish.
Yeah, Guns cheesh. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, so now, again, what we look for, is there an object? No. So now we should be getting shoutle and has shoutle, right? Or whatever the kaudle and shoutle, right? DL, so it's going to be dle all the way down. What about the stem?
How about long and low?
Yes, so closed, na, long and low. Closed, na, long and low, but it's marked high, so it must be long and high. So this is the override right here in the theme. It just says, I don't go low. It's like, oh, okay, all right. Be long and high then. Fine. Okay. So, predictors. And so this is to preach or to tell a story. So I told a story. And you got to put the SH in front of it. Shh.
Shakachdlenik.
Schauchtle. Schauchtlenik. Schauchtlenik.
Shakachdlenik.
We told a story.
Cowtoodlenik.
Schauchtlenik. You told a story.
Kaidlinik.
Yeah, well, y'all told a story.
Skayidlinik.
Yeah, well, they singular told a story.
Cowdlenik.
Yeah, well, they told a story. And Hus is on the outside of shh.
Hashkaudli.
Yeah, well. People told a story. Or a story was told. I don't know.
Hashkaudutlinik.
But no hus though. Without
Oh,
the
that's right. Sorry. Shkaudutlinik.
okay, okay. Okay. So now we go to fishing with fishing rod. So I don't know, I guess I'll just say I fished with the rod. I was rod fishing. What am I supposed to say there in English?
Casting?
I was casting, sure. So now this one had the SH, right, which is an object pronoun frozen in there. This one's going to have sha, which is the thematic, right? So it's going to be different. But if we just ignored this SH, change all these Ks to SH now. So instead of schauchtle, I should expect schauchtle. And then I'm going to have goed on the end. I casted. Oh, so yeah,
Like, no. I'll never be able to say it the same again.
I had it right. Dang it. Schauchtle goed. So we're gonna get schauchtle, schaututle, scheidle, schajidle, schautle, haschautle, schaudutle. That's what we should expect all the way down. So I just told you, we were fishing with a rod. I don't know how to say that one. We were casting, fine.
Shoututle goed.
Schaututle goed. Yeah, you were casting.
Scheidli goed.
Yeah, y'all were casting.
Yéil goed.
Yeah, they singular were casting.
Shoutli goed.
Yeah, schautle goed. They plural were casting.
Shoutli goed.
Yeah, people were casting.
Shoutli goed.
Schaututle goed. Okay, Johan. Konachik. This is I think maybe the last set. I'll have to. I might have one more. No, I've got one more after this. Okay. Walking through again. Object. So we should expect a kausha and has a kausha. So that object is all about the third person, whether it switches to a. That's what we look at that object for. Other than that, we need to know it's there in case we wanted to say, she shooed me away, or I shooed you away, or whatever, right? Which isn't the nicest verb to use as an example. These are all SH, so they're going to be sh, all the way down. These are both closed and 0. So we're going to have ʼat and ʼaan. So, and they're both ka, which is nice. So once we get the left one, we're going to have the right one just by changing the stem. That's all we're going to do is change the stem. So, I cooked herring eggs. I blanched them. We,
Is only for herring eggs, though?
it would be anything that you just dip in boiling water pretty quickly. So I'm not sure what else you would cook. What
Well,
else would you cook like that, I
Well,
guess?
you blanch vegetables by putting them into hot water just really quickly, right?
Yeah, like
Skin.
you like your green beans kind of crunchy and guk kashakach. But if those herring eggs turn white, then you have sheuktit. Yep. Then you're out of the kitchen. Your uncle's
fired.
then your uncle's gonna say this. Who cooked these?
You know who cooks really good herring eggs?
Yeah. We just had a class and I was just sharing with someone. I was like, this is what you don't do. If someone gives you some native food and you start eating it, you don't say this. You know who makes really good whatever? It's like me. I just gave it to you. Okay. So, okay. We cooked herring eggs.
How to seek at
Yeah, what? You cooked herring eggs.
Kai.
Kayaishichat.
Yep, you just gotta knock that one vowel out. Yep, okay. And how would I say you cooked the herring eggs well? You did a good job.
Kadane.
A'atánk kaishikhat.
A'atánk kaishikhat. Yeah, away. Okay. Y'all cooked herring eggs.
Kaishikhat.
Yeah, away. They cooked herring eggs. Singular. Akaushikhat. Yeah, away. Akaushikhat. They, plural, cooked herring eggs.
Has akaushi. Hats.
Yeah, away. Herring eggs were cooked. What's it gonna, the classifier has to change. Don't forget that. You cannot douche it.
Akaudushkhat. You got?
It's a little bit, there's no on the front. And
Oh,
when,
kaudushkhat.
but there's gotta be the I still has to be in there.
Okay.
Wasa, heshwasa. So when we add the D,
Dudli.
cow, du, j.
Ah.
Right, so yeah, that's it. So the SH, once we put the D on there, just like kaushahit, a kaushahit and kaujahit. That's the, and so now these, we're going to change all these to kun. And now everybody's getting shooed away. Okay. And there is an object there. So I'm going to use they, or I'm going to use them for an object, even though it's singular. I shooed them away.
Kaushik.
Kaushik ye away. We shooed them away. A singular them.
Kautushikan.
Kautushikan ye away.
Kautushikan.
You shooed them away.
Kaishikan.
Ye away. Y'all shooed them away.
Kayishikan.
Ye away. They singular shooed them singular away.
Kamshikan.
Ye away. Kamshikan. They, plural, shooed them singular or plural away.
Has a kaushikan.
Yeah, away. Somebody's gonna have to do the Beyonce cover song, whereas if you want to pluralize it, you got to put a hus on it or something like that. And then they were shooed away.
They were shooed away.
People shooed them away. I don't know.
Kaudujikan.
Yeah, away. Kaudujakun. This is the last set. Then you'll have mastered the perfective. We will be moving on to the future. And it's pattern recognition. That's the biggest thing, I think, is pattern recognition. So you can start to look at verbs. Once you see that theme, you're not going to need that whole big database anymore. You'll just look and you say, okay, I know how to do that one, right? So for these ones, so they both have this, the reflexive object built in there. So because of that, we should be getting kauja, hus, kauja. These are D plus 8 SH. So we're going to get j, j, j all the way down. Closed, na. So we should be getting or sorry, so you're going to get long and low. This one is open and 0. So we should be getting long and high. Even though there's a Y on there, that's not considered closed. Okay. I was comfortable. Oh, sorry, no. Yeah, I was comfortable. Yeah, I'm right. We were comfortable.
Would it be cow to jika?
Get away. We were comfortable. You were comfortable.
Sky Jinkaat.
Jinkaat. Y'all were comfortable. Yeah, wow. They singular were comfortable. Jinkaat.
Oh.
Skauja. They, plural, were comfortable. Yeah, wow. Skauja. People were comfortable.
How doodly sound.
Except the gle has to be j.
Oh,
Skauja. Okay. Home stretch. I dressed up. I got fancy.
got fancy.
Skauja. We got fancy. We smartened up.
Kautujkai.
Skauja. You fancied up.
Kai. Chigay.
Skauja. It seems that one seems like it wants to be more complicated than it is. It's pretty short, right? Skauja. Y'all fancied up. Yeah, Skauja. They singular fancied up. Yeah, this is one you'll see sometimes in the Raven stories when he's all covered with whale blood or fat, and then he goes and he fancies himself all up before he comes back to talk to the people. They, plural, fancied up. Yeah, people got fancy. Skauja. Yeah, Yuhan. Just the cut at aya. Yi glak. Yeah, achtuasagu. Chesti dain away. Wuchi nuqaqartullaati. Wan qanins ayata achtuasagu kakachtu aqu. Hetwasaka qoti. Wan qanins chuya. Kautlihis ayahatundatani aqiwutin. Aqua achtuasagu yisaku.
Lay down.
Yakachtullak.
Imperative.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry. Shadi khatnai u. Arcadely. Arcadely. Ye khosa. Ishe. Yanchista.
Sa ute. Okay. We naskiki ko we yu ʼatánk to asugu gachtusha. Gachtusa achi. Aka kagachtu ach we kagachtu shahid. Tlingit enach. Kagachtu nig. Kagachtu nig. We gled chach enach zu. Aka awe konne adat yuch agachtu tlaati zu. We future achtu asugu adat yuch agachtu tlaati. Yeah, I think the future is actually easier than the perfective, just because there's fewer variables. And so you're gonna, but we're sort of setting ourselves up for this whole series of these conversations, like what exactly happens when you move the verb into this mode. And so what we saw here was the addition of the perfective marker, the plus I classifier, and then the stem variation. So those were the three things we really sort of kept examining. With the future, you're gonna have like, you had three things instead of just the perfective marker. But with the future, the classifier must always be minus I. And then for positive futures, the stem's always going to be, it's gonna want to be long and high. For negative futures, long and low. So the future is, it's more predictable, I think, even though it's longer, it's more predictable and it's easier to go back and forth between the positive and negative. You just put kesh in front of it and then you drop the tone. Then we'll look at the perfective and the negative, and that one is a little bit trickier only because it's going minus I, and it has both an irrealis and a perfective marker in it. And so what we're going to see is sometimes that prefix is going to change its shape a little bit. And so sometimes it's kind of easier, or sometimes it's not that hard, but sometimes it is, because then you're going to go from chwaseku to kesh chwaseku. You're going to go from auseku to kesh awasku. And so you are going to hear that change its shape quite a bit. So anybody got any thoughts or questions?
On this perfective, that practice was starting to pay off. Gonna cheesh.
Are we gonna use the same verbs
Yes.
into the future? So we'll see these guys again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They'll make their appearance. And so I kind of mind for a number of verbs that we could just sort of, because once the biggest thing is what happens to that classifier, because then you'll be able to, what you're figuring out here is you're building a prefix and then you're learning what the stem variation will be. And that's really all you need to do, even though there's a bunch of parts in there. That's what you're doing, is learning how to build that prefix so that everything is in there and then putting the stem on.
So how the word changes to like shkaujiqai. Like I remember the triangles you had, like do, and then all the variations of those triangles and how they change. But like, where's the me in that part? Is it the or the or?
Yeah. So if you look here, you're seeing that triangle be put into motion with cha, tu, I, ye. Nothing. The third person is always an unmarked subject, which is always just kind of something our English brain is going to continue to have a hard time with, is that you just take the subject. It's almost like you just erase the subject and then we know it's a third person, right? And then the du. And so this is where we have, and this is all of the subject markers. So cha is I did it, tu is we did it. So the same, like if we just took the sikhan verb, we go back to that one and we change the object to a third person. Let's say chesachan, tusachan, isachan, yisachan, asachan, has asachan, dudzachan. And that's what, and so we see these same rules, but then we just took the perfective stuff out of there, right? And so that's where we sort of start building this thing up and seeing as this subject is changing, that's continuing the code, who is doing the thing, right? And so we could also take a verb like eating it, chacha, tucha, icha, yicha, acha, has acha, and ducha. Okay.
Sheesh.
Jinkaat kadech when it's uyech. Ni tu agesagu jay gu genki awe Yéil kachan shkatni kidati jigach tune. Gwallisaku ya Yéil kak away. What's that? Yukayawaka. Wait, Yukayawaka. I think that's how you say it. He tucked him into it. So now he's gonna, so just to get us caught up, so Raven he saw the fire, he was resting out on the Aleutians, he saw the fire, which was a volcano. Then he was asking all these birds to go get it for him, and they all were like, no way. And so then he talked this little owl, Kauk, into it, and Kauk had a really long beak, and so he's tying this pitchwood to the beak. And that's where we find ourselves. So we'll just take turns, read the sentence, do your best at translating it, and then we'll open it up and see if anybody else has any ideas, and then we'll take a look at the translation. Who wants to go first? Just one sentence at a time, so when you get to the period, that's where you stop. I need a reader.
I'll
Okay.
put myself in.
Sheesh.
Gwash tlach ya dakde awa ausachat. Tlach yadu wak hande.
Sheesh. Gwall clach gedag de awe aksachat. Clach get to walk chande. And how about the translation?
Dock day is out to sea.
Mm.
Well, without the underline.
Oh, so that's back.
Dock, yeah, so dock day is actually up away from the ocean. But we're gonna do like a little bit of a,
Yeah, underline.
there's another thing here too, which is really neat. So in Tlingit, I think a person is always just sort of standing on the shore of the ocean, facing out to sea. And the reason I would say that is because if you wanted to, like when we do the hokey pokey, dak jichitsu. So dak is also straightforward. Like stick your tongue out, your arms out. That's dak. And then kuch is going behind. But if, let's say I put my hand out and there was a little spider crawling up towards my body, he is going dak. So dak is also from extending in front of the body towards the body. That's what you're getting here. So and so I want to walk you through it because it's a little bit unusual. This is actually one of the first places I remember seeing this used, and it got me thinking about the hokey pokey and the other things, right? Like why is it kuch and dak? And so kuch is to return, but it also means like if you wanted someone to take a step back, you could say tlingit. That means take a step back, right? And so that's how that verb is working. And you could say put it behind your body. Put it in front of your body. And so in this case, and the aksakhat verb is to attach something. So then we got to put it together with the next sentence. And kach is very. So maybe, very, towards the body, attached, very, his eye, beside. So how would we put all that together? What do you think? And so just to give us some context, Raven is tying this pitchwood around the kak's beak.
Well, was he tying it very close up to the eye, very far in?
Yep, he's tying it. And so this is a bit of a commentary too. Like, oh, maybe he should have tied it way out on the end of his beak, but maybe he tied it a little bit too close to his body. And so maybe he's tying it really far back, really close to its eye.
Sean.
Mm-hmm. Okay, can I get someone to read the next one?
Kadis.
Ah.
Galtudaya adatin. Ya naqlu. Ya kant gut.
Sheesh. How about a translation for that one?
Naq's medicine.
Without the underline.
Oh. Oh, but it's not a body part because it's
Naq.
Was that the octopus staff?
Well, that would be musaqa, but
Okay.
a naq has a shl.
Now clue is the octopus beak, right?
oh.
Yeah.
Ah.
What about qasl?
Inside his pocket.
Yeah. And then adatin, that one a little bit unusual. So I'll just give that one to you. It's lying there. It's located there, right there. This is one of the ways that you could use for something to be somewhere is basically one of these handling verbs in a bit of an unusual form. And what about the last part?
Next to the little owl.
Yeah. Oh, he went, right? Or he goes up to him. He's going up to him, right? And sometimes you're going to see these motion verbs just as a root. And it's just something that's a little bit unusual. So these are kind of like master storytellers. So they're dropping all the big bombs on us sometimes. So how do we put it all together? What do you think? Altutaya adatin yanaqlu. Ja, ʼatánk gut.
That the owl had that octopus beak in his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he put it in his pocket.
So he put it in his pocket, the octopus beak, he goes to the owl, right? Or you could say it was in his pocket, right? Qastutaya at the teen, ya naqshu, ya ʼatánk gut. What about ha? Did I do that one on that sound? I think so.
It's kind of like an expletive, but I don't know how to translate it.
Oh my, right? Yeah, there's different ways. It's like there's probably several ways you could do it. Oh my, or something like that. Geez, kind of depends. Okay, anybody want to read the last one? And we'll be done for the night.
Hada de tak ʼatánk.
Sheesh. Translation.
Fly out there.
Mm-hmm.
You fly out there.
Yeah, well. Fly to it out there, right? And so there's a couple different things that are kind of interesting here. I can't even, like, hada, how do we want it? Like, oh my, oh, can't even. I like that one. There was a student that was from Cake who gave me that translation. I liked it. And then, oh, sheesh, yeah, send on a mission. So, ade is towards it, but then you also have dak ʼatánk. So you see, you can stack up sometimes your motion, where things are going to go. So this is the command form for fly. And in this case, dak ʼatánk is to fly out to sea, or fly out into the open. It could be either way. But then the ade is just a little bit of extra information. Okay. Let me try and find that talked into verb so I can show you guys. There it is. So we have, hey, wooneiyi at ayakawaka. So that's to talk someone into something. Ayakawaka. And I think this might be in another section of there. So you've got kawaka, but it could be, you know, that sending on a mission too, right? So it's certainly, I think that was in the chat. Let me find it. So someone put that in there. Kayaka. Oh yeah. So that kayaka, but then here we see there's there's a ya on the front. So we have ya, ka, ya, and ya, yawaka, right? And so that was luckily translated by Kechne, I think in this one and maybe one other story. It's in there because I couldn't find that verb anywhere else. At least that's what I remember. Oh, goodness, cheesh. So I guess between now and Wednesday, also think about a way for us to spend maybe a class where we just throw the technical stuff out the window and just try to just talk for 90 minutes. So I would like for us to try and do that maybe next Monday. So Wednesday, we'll start looking at the future. We'll start looking at the origin of copper translation work. And then we'll think of some fun topics that we could do for Monday. I think I'd like to do like one scripted thing, which would mean like, go be ready, go study this and be ready to talk about it. And then I would like maybe some kind of impromptu thing, just so we can sort of go off the cuff a little bit. I'm just always conscious of how much time we spend talking about the language, which I think is helpful, but then we've got to move into the language so that we're not just, well, there's the Hwasaku and the Hwashaguk, so we want to maneuver between those two regions. So think about that, and always bring your questions to class if you got them. Perfective. Yeah.
Sheesh.
Sheesh, Yuhan.
Sheesh.
Sheesh.
Yagen.
Sheesh.
Goodness, cheese.